It's Monday, July 24th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. We'll talk with Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Kristen Harmon, and we'll find out what's happening at Cape Cod Community College. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Town Council approved spending $1.8 million to repair 3 private roads in Osterville. The roads to be repaired include Beach Plum Hill Road, Smoke Valley Road, Ice Valley Road, and Fox Island Road. Council also approved a measure that allows the town to regulate and restrict the use of land and structures for educational purposes, and that includes group homes for recovering addicts. Eversource hopes to increase rates for electricity delivery by 7%. Eversource says the increase will address increases in operating and maintenance costs. The Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities will hold a public hearing on that proposal at Cape Cod Community College Wednesday, August 2nd at the Tilden Arts Center at 7 p.m. All are encouraged to attend. High School Road in Hyannis is getting an upgrade. The Department of Public Works will be improving drainage system installations, road and sidewalk reclamation, new granite curbing, and new asphalt surfaces. Work on the project will begin this Wednesday and should be complete by August 18th. Vehicle access during construction will be limited. Motorists are advised to seek alternate routes to avoid delays. The town of Barnstable will host a memorial ceremony in honor of the Korean War next week. The armistice that formally ended the Korean War was signed, and actually that's taking place this week. Sorry about that. The armistice that formally ended the Korean War was signed on July 27th in 1953 at 10 a.m. The town will hold its ceremony at 10 a.m. Thursday, July 27th, in honor of that significant moment in history. All are welcome to attend. The ceremony will be held at the Korean War Memorial at Veterans Beach. Well, up next, we're going to chat with Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. So, Maddie, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that is happening at the Barnstable Senior Center tomorrow. Yep. This is a very exciting event, and it kind of reminds me of when you guys really tapped the community not too long ago with your needs assessment. You really wanted to find out what seniors, where they wanted to age. Many of them said they wanted to age in place. Now we have a governor's council really looking at this issue as well, and so they're traveling around really to hear from the community. Tell me a little bit about why this event is being held here in Barnstable.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sarah. You know, we have been looking very closely at the local level, along with other communities across the state, into how we can best meet the needs of our changing demographic, you know, with a growing percentage of older adults living in our communities all throughout the state. And it's really being looked at on the state level now with a commitment by the governor. Governor Baker, a couple of months ago, established a council specifically to address aging issues in Massachusetts, with the goal of Massachusetts being the most age-friendly state in the nation. And so I think that's really an ambitious goal, and something that I think he's aware that we are all responding to at the local level. But he has enlisted 24 people who are all experts in aging. You've got some really noteworthy people on the council, including the co-chair is the Health and Human Services Secretary, Mary Lou Sutters, who is actually going to be attending the session tomorrow. And also you've got people like the director of the MIT Age Lab, Joe Coughlin, on there. The Council on Agings across the state are being represented as well. So you've really got a great cross-section of you know, our state advocates for aging that are all on this council. And the intent was to have the council members go out throughout the state, and so 4 listening sessions were scheduled, Barnstable being one of 4, which we're very fortunate that we are the only session that's taking place really in the South Coast and Cape and Islands region. So we do expect a lot of people to come.
I would think too, here's a great place to have that, only because we do have such a high senior population.
Absolutely.
So I would think there would be a lot of interested people in our community that would really want to weigh in.
I believe a lot of people will turn out, and it really is a great opportunity. We're actually very proud to have been asked to host it in Barnstable. You know, as we talk about frequently, we are seeing the impact, you know, that a rapidly aging community places, and in us trying to be successful in meeting the needs of our changing population, we've had the support of the town council, the town manager, to assist us with planning for the needs of our population. So I think the fact that we were selected as the site to host it was because of the efforts that we've been working on. And I think across the Cape we're seeing a significant portion of our population. We talk a lot in Barnstable how by 2030 we're going to have 42% of our population will be over 60. So this is a pressing need. The fact that you've got 4 sessions across the state, one in the Berkshires, which again is experiencing similar demographics as we are on the Cape. One took place in Worcester, and the other session took place in Gloucester. So out of those 4 sessions, the council is hoping to solicit and gain a lot of feedback and input from citizens, from older citizens, also from caregivers. I mean, there are a lot of people in our communities that may not be older adults themselves, but they are caring for a family member who may be over 60. We want to hear from every person who's impacted, by an aging population. Specifically, the council is looking to get responses to questions like what factors make communities a good place to grow older? How can the state support families that have aging adults in the household? A big topic right now that we're hearing a lot about in communities is how to reduce loneliness and social isolation, and really trying to find out what are the barriers for people to be able to age well. And also, a big part of the conversation is about innovations. How can communities be more innovative in approaches to offering solutions to, offer communities that are better suited to aging well? And also, a really important aspect of all of this is perceptions about aging among community members. So what we're hoping for is people are going to show up and they're going to speak up and speak out, and all of this information is going back directly to the governor. So for changes to happen in policy at the state level, this is where it comes down to. These sessions are really going to be instrumental in getting feedback.
I think it's so important too, because when you're not dealing with the specific issues, you may not understand things that, so an issue someone could raise. So really important to get that opinion from people in Massachusetts who are dealing with aging. So.
And absolutely, although he cannot be here himself, obviously the governor is a very busy individual and has lots of places to be and lots of things to do. He's sending, as I mentioned, the Health and Human Services Secretary Mary Lou Sutters and the Secretary for Elder Affairs Alice Bonner. So we're very excited and privileged to have them join us here, along with other members of the council. So this is a great opportunity for people, to have a direct conversation. And we're very excited. We're looking to, to have a really good turnout, and we hope everybody will show up that's interested.
Free to attend, no need to sign up in advance?
No need to sign up. People can just show up and we'll have a cup of coffee waiting. So It's from 9 to 11 tomorrow morning.
Great. Thank you so much, Maddie, for telling us about this very important event.
Thank you.
Our guest today, of course, Director of Senior Services, Madeline Noonan. Now we're going to learn more about how Barnstable Public Schools are working to advance technology during our conversation with Assistant Superintendent Kristen Harmon. So Kristen, last week at school committee you did a highlight in education, talked a little bit about what the district is doing to advance access to technology for students. One of the things I thought was so interesting about your presentation was the amount of Chromebooks the district is purchasing. Why Chromebooks?
Well, Chromebooks really are user-friendly for students. They're easily accessible, and certainly their cost is low enough that it really allows us to expand our number of devices quickly.
It's so interesting too, because so many students use Google. It's such an easy transition, and no matter what device you're on, you can access those documents. So it's more difficult to lose something. You don't need, a disk or a flash drive. There's nothing complicated about it. You log in, no matter what computer on, you can have access to your drive.
Absolutely. So students can be creating something at school, go home, and be able to pull that up to show their parents. Or to work on it at home. And right now, grades 4 through 12 have their Gmail accounts so that they're able to access anywhere, and we're expanding that into 3rd grade starting next year. So it really is developing students' knowledge around access and to their technology and their documents.
Now, so interesting. What led to the decision to spread that down to the third graders?
Well, I think it's to prepare them for fourth grade, for sure. But really, it's just getting students. We are in such this age of technology that we really need to make sure we're preparing our students right from the beginning. And even all the way down to kindergarten, they are in technology class every other week, so they're getting some, to varying degrees, grade appropriate, that's expanding all the way up through 12.
It's amazing how time flies and technology changes, and so interesting to see how the district is keeping up with those things. Barnstable Public Schools also uses iPads in some situations. What grade levels use iPads?
Well, we've had iPads predominantly in our middle grades, but what we're finding is that we need to make sure students have the access to the computers, because that really is preparing them for college. But we don't want to move them out of the middle grades altogether. So it's really a continuum. So the iPads we have moving to grades K to 2. And then grades 3 through 7 are going to have a hybrid. They'll have both access to both the Chromebooks and the iPads for, so they can be creating and researching, but also have that, more college career readiness with the Chromebooks. So it's just establishing that continuum for students.
When the iPads were introduced, that was just a couple years ago, I think.
Oh, geez. I think that we brought them into BIS, I want to say 5 years ago.
Wow, time flies.
It does. It really does, particularly when you're talking about technology.
So over the past 5 years, looking at students' use, what did teachers report back? Did it get kids more engaged or excited about learning at times, or was it a distraction?
I think the first year there was that blend of distraction and learning, but teachers really were very clear on their expectations, so that was just the newness of it. And what teachers have seen is that students have latched onto it. They're so engaged, they're so creative in the projects they're creating on iBook and iMovie and Book Creator, are just amazing. So that's with the iPads, and now as we're bringing the Chromebooks in, it's giving students the opportunity to do research and to manipulate various, even on the Chromebooks there's apps. So that they can really demonstrate their learning in different ways.
It's funny, too, how kids can really pick up something so much faster at times, I think, than adults can.
Absolutely.
But it just kills me, how quickly someone can pick up an app and learn how to edit video.
Yeah.
And, who knew?
And they have no fear of making mistakes. They'll try it, it doesn't work, they go back and try it again. And that's such a great lesson. Just in and of itself, mistakes are okay.
Yeah.
That's how we do our learning.
We kind of all have to.
We all
it's an
have
important
to embrace
lesson
that.
for everybody,
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
I want to talk a little bit about maker spaces. I heard that in some libraries throughout the district, we will be making maker spaces. What does that mean?
Well, maker space is really a space, typically in a library, where we have where it's the opportunity for students to collaborate and create. Right now, this past year, Barnstable United was our first school to have a makerspace. They have a 3D printer and a green screen so they can make some movies, but also print 3D images. And it's a lot of fun for the kids. Talk about engagement. It's just they're so enthralled by this process. And so we're expanding that makerspace, and now we're also expanding to BIS. And so makerspace, it's not just technology. It can be using cardboard, it can be using Legos, but it's an opportunity for students to create, problem solve, collaborate. It's helping us to expand on the coding that's done at the elementary level into coding to program robots. So our makerspaces will have small robots for the kids to program for tasks.
I love this subject matter because I think it really does. I just think when kids have something that really makes them excited, it makes them so much more engaged and helps them really retain a lot more when they have that engagement. So really neat to see that the district is doing these things to get their attention, keep on top of the times, and really engage the students.
And your traditional content, math, science, ELA, social studies, you can tie that all back into whether it's the Chromebooks, the iPads, or the Makerspace. It all works together.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you for stopping by,
Right.
telling us about the advancing technology in Barnstable Public Schools. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
My guest today, Assistant Superintendent Kristen Harmon. Local artists have the chance to unplug and spend some time on Sandy Neck Beach. The town of Barnstable and the Cape Cod Art Association are offering day excursions to the house at the halfway point on Sandy Neck Beach. The house was donated to the town of Barnstable in the 70s for educational purposes.
Now we rehabbed the structure, and now we're using it for nonprofit groups to come out here and use it as a base for either educational purposes. Certainly environmental education is a great use of it, and then these artist groups have been coming out for a number of years now. So it's sort of morphed into, I think it's always maintained the use requirement when it was initially given to the town. It's always had a really productive and constructive use. It's just sort of morphed into this new place, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful. People love it coming out here. I hear about it for years and years after they come out and enjoy this place.
I was just talking to someone earlier, and they were saying their photographs aren't even capturing what it is that we're looking at. The colors just are amazing to stand here. And I always find that when I paint on location, when I'm working on the painting, I'm trying to bring in what I'm actually feeling and seeing. So it's not necessarily to capture it as a photographic image, but to be able to, put a little bit of myself into it. And I think if you're standing in the location as opposed to looking at a photograph, you're just one step closer to it. It's just, it's a wonderful feeling.
You can learn more and download an application by visiting artsbarnstable.com or contacting Arts and Culture Coordinator Melissa Hirsch. Excursions are scheduled in May, September, and October of this year. Joining us now, we welcome Jim McLaughlin. He is the Testing Center Coordinator at Cape Cod Community College. Jim, welcome to the show. So excited to talk to you about things that are available to individuals at Cape Cod Community College. Tell me a little bit about the Testing Center.
We offer a variety of testing services, beginning with the AccuPlacer, which is the placement exercise that's utilized by colleges and universities throughout the United States. Hundreds of campuses for correct placement of their students, their incoming freshmen, into math and English classes.
It's interesting, too, because you don't really know what level a student is going to be when they make that transition to college. So really important that they make sure they are in the correct level, just so that they can succeed in the course that they're taking. What other opportunities are available at the Testing Center?
We offer the CLEP exam, which is the college-level exam program. That's 36 different subject-specific exams that are available for college credit for students. We offer the MTEL, which is the Math Teacher's Exam for Licensure. The GRE, the Graduate Record Exam for students applying to graduate schools. We also offer the HiSET and the GED exams. Wow.
Now, interesting to see that you offer all of those for students. If someone was interested in taking one of these tests, how would they go about signing up, and what are the costs associated with those exams? For example, the GED test, how much would that cost for a student to participate?
For the GED, it's for the HiSET, it would be $100 for the battery of the 4 subject areas. If they're taking the GED, it would be $125, and that's in language arts, science, social studies, and math.
And when we're talking about the MTEL, so this is a teacher has obviously gone through a 4-year program. They're about to be licensed. Is that what that exam is for?
Yes, correct. Yep.
Wonderful. And so it's really nice that the teachers have that option to take it here on Cape. Are there any other areas on Cape that give this exam?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So really,
they would need to go off Cape, perhaps to Bridgewater, UMass Dartmouth, Curry or Quincy College up on the South Shore.
Wow, so pretty great that we now have that available here on Cape.
Yes, definitely.
Now, if someone wanted to learn more about some of the testing that is given at your center, how could they learn more?
Perhaps the best way would be to call us. Call the main number for the campus and then ask to be switched to the testing center. They can also go on the college website and get a lot of information about all the different exams that we offer.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today, telling us everything we need to know about the testing center at Cape Cod Community College. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Our guest today, Jim McLaughlin, he is the Testing Center Coordinator at Cape Cod Community College. Now we're going to learn about so much more about what's happening around town in today's community calendar. First up, now is your chance to get help with your golf swing. Golf pros Mary Hallway and Jesse Schechtman will be on hand during this week's Discover Barnstable event at the Bismore Park Visitor Center. The event is free to attend and kicks off tomorrow, Tuesday, July 25th at 10:30 in the morning. The Osterville Historical Museum is hosting a one-day art show and sale this Wednesday. Featured artists include Nick Glazer, Elizabeth Mumford, Wendy Cole, and others. Art at the museum will be held Wednesday from 1 to 5 at the Osterville Historical Museum. Now here's a look at this week's Board, Committee, and Commission meeting schedule. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we'll chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. We'll talk with DPW Director Dan Santos and so much more. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.